Pull up a chair, episode 58. You know what this means. The red light's on. We are live. Thank you for being tuned in, whether you're watching now or afterwards. Pull up episode 58. Just had a great episode of Sleepless Radio, episode 163 last night. Good God almighty. Toby Keith won it in the thick of it, in the winner take all. But let's dive right into it. It was one of those rare slow news weeks of the week. However, though, Drake kicked it into high gear over the past couple days. And, of course, we had WWE Fastlane last night. But before we dive into anything, let me make sure I put some names and some faces. To my right, I got my beautiful queen with me. Thank you for joining us once again. I know you were judging last night. Now you're podding today. You're getting the double dose experience of it. And if you don't know me, well, you should by now. But it's El Tucker Tente, the ultimate motherfucking sensei. The one who, of course, taught Bruce Lee everything he motherfucking knows. A.K.A. Space Mountain Stoney. A.K.A. Space Mountain Stoney. A.K.A. Stoney Montana. A.K.A. Young Dumbledore, the lyrical wizard. A.K.A. call me what you will, just don't call me broker sad. It's the creme de la creme, the one they call him. Mr. Keep the love high and the hate low. Call me what you will, just make it never broker sad. And on that note, let's just dive right into it. From the dog pound in Cleveland to Toronto, Canada. Drake dropped For All the Dogs on Friday at 6 a.m. Internet went into shambles, as they always do. Some people said on Friday, which I wasn't crazy enough to say this one, but some people actually said that they set their alarms so that they could get up and waken Drake. That's what they called it, was wake Drake. Now, I know that's some borderline pause shit to say, but I did not waken Drake. However, I did end up listening to it, and I had my listening sesh Friday night, like having a whole full listen through. I think it's a great album. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I think in his last four, I guess, or last three, have you with, let's see, there was Certified Lover Boy, then there was Honestly Nevermind, then there was Her Loss, then there was this. I think that completing a 4-album run is a grand slam, 10 out of 10 out of the park home run. I personally love the album. I mean, it's probably not one of my favorite Drake albums, but it's still got to grow. It's still got to give it time. There's a couple records on there I've only heard like once or twice. I don't mostly listen to it riding around. I'll give the floor to you on that one, though. What do you think of it? I really love the album. Before we dive into anything surrounding the album, I really do overall love the album. Off the top of my head, my favorites are, well, I guess I have to be biased and say Daylight, considering that rat bastard stole my fucking skit. But that's okay. He dropped it first, so he earned it. That's all right. And just lets me know that we're thinking the same way. So turning that L into a W. But my favorite, though, on it would probably be Members Only with Party Next Door, P&D. That one's the one that if you've noticed every time we get in the car, I'm like, well, let's start there. I'm like, let's start with that one. But another favorite of mine was Another Late Night with Lil Yachty, Cole Bennett video.
I don't know. I mean, I've only listened to it in the car, so... I mean,
that is the place that you usually like to listen to music, though.
I do like to listen to my music in the car, but I also don't really like that stuff. I don't know. I don't really gravitate towards his music all like that anymore. So
I was about to say, ever since we've been together, you've never been like like that song's really good. I think the only one that we've been together that you actually liked a lot was God's Plan.
Yeah, I mean, I did.
That one you would kind of sing along to in the car.
Yeah. I mean, I do like, a few of his, songs off of his most recent albums, but I don't gravitate towards that. So it's not a replay in my car. Let's just say that.
Well, you've obviously grown up with Drake, though, as well, too.
Yeah.
To go with, I guess, what Joe Budden was saying. Here we go. One of the things that Joe Budden said is that Drake's music hasn't really matured. Like one of his disses that he said towards Drake was, "You're 36 and your birthday's in 20 days." Meaning, like a lot of the shit that like Drake talks about and does, he's like kind of holding him almost to like Cole and Kendrick's regard. Like Kendrick's doing this and he's off the grid, and J. Cole's pushing for getting into like even some political bags. He's doing this and that, and then it's Drake, and it's like he's just out here getting fucked up and partying and.
Well, I mean, I think Drake has definitely evolved, and just because I personally don't like his replay, or I mean, I wouldn't personally replay his music and I don't go crazy for it, doesn't mean that it's not good and it's not, where I think, Drake is. I mean, but that is Drake. I mean, he's been, in the game for so long. We've, watched, I think he's involved. Like I do. I don't.
And like Joe Budden kind of accused him of being on autopilot, which I also disagree.
No, but you also have to see like how many, but Drake also has a team that is doing a lot of this stuff with and or for him. I don't know the definites behind it. If he's
that OVO writers, team,
whatever, but that's
yeah,
Drake. That's just who he is. Like I don't know.
Bear had to get it on. He knew we were talking about For All the Dogs. He had to jump. That was actually oddly good timing if he's ever going to do that. But yeah, no, I like that take on it because I don't really think there's much truth to that. And if I were to say if he was ever on autopilot, his autopilot's better than a lot of people's giving it all they got. Like if he does just kick back the seat, so to speak, like.
But he's also like at that level to where he can do that. Like
he's literally possibly going to tie Michael Jackson this week. If just any one of those records on that album goes number one, he ties Michael Jackson. And like that's another thing when people were like, why did he drop 23 tracks? I'm like, you don't think he's not looking at Morgan Wallen and what Taylor Swift and what some of those people that are putting up those crazy numbers are doing? Because he knows he has the base for it. If I put 50 songs on that motherfucker, people are going to stream it.
Well, yeah.
Like, and a lot of people, though, like, see, when Chris Brown does it, you're like, oh, brother, I'm not going to make it past the 10th one. But with Drake, it's like, fuck, I have to. Like, like, and a lot of his fans feel that way. Like, especially the stands are like, it don't matter how many you put on.
And he does have a very, very wide fan base, too. So.
Yeah. I mean, he's the one rapper that I feel like can tackle that. Like Kendrick and J. Cole, they scratch at the club, so to speak. Drake almost is the club.
Yeah.
Like Kendrick's music is always more like, oh, I'm by myself, 3 a.m. Let me throw something on real quick. Drake's like, oh, the bar's lit, 1 a.m. People are touch tuning the Drake songs. Like,
but Drake has always been that way. So why are we looking for something that he's not really shown us too much in the past, though? I'm not saying he's never shown it, but that's not the music he's ever made.
I always go to that point. Like, I wouldn't want to hear Royce the 5'9" try to make a God's plan. Like, I wouldn't want to hear that. Like, I'd much rather hear Royce stick to what he does and we love. And, of course, you can experiment within that. But essentially, it stays in that realm. And I think I love how Drake just doesn't quite... Like, I know he got on the Conductor beat, which I think that's major. Like, that's almost got, like, a boom bap vibe to it, which maybe that's maturing right there. Like, you don't usually hear, especially like him on that. I know it was a timestamp record, which, by the way, to talk about that real quick, 8 a.m. in Charlotte was phenomenal. I think that is one of the better of the timestamps. I don't know if you've realized it. Over his career, they call them timestamp records now. Like 5 a.m. in Toronto, 4 p.m. in Calabasas, 8 a.m. in Charlotte. Like, he's got like a lot of those, like where he just timestamps them. I think there's like an 8 a.m. or a 9 a.m. in Dallas or something like that. And it's like actually cool how he sticks to it because like apparently that's actually the time that like he made the record. So, and where he did it. So it's cool that like he has those. But I just want to talk about the timestamp briefly. But back to the Drake Joe Budden beef. I used to be a Joe Budden fan, and I was actually getting into it a little bit on Twitter, and I did it over the past couple of days on Reddit, that I've been a Joe Budden fan. Trying to accuse me of not knowing Joe is stupid. I mean, you remember when we first got together, I was big on Joe. But then I finally had to come to my senses when I realized that dude is a blood-sucking bum, for lack of better words.
Parasite.
He is a parasite. He really is. And, granted, he has a successful podcast. I think Drake told no lies in that.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, I'm not going to read it all off. It's a lengthy comment. But essentially, let's just say what Drake said. In simpler terms, Drake said, I own 2 767s. He has a 2-bedroom house in the 973 and only gets to fly first class on special occasions.
Yeah.
And he literally said that in simpler terms. I know some people now see some people. There's two sides of this coin here on where people are falling. There's some people saying that Drake was corny for like how he went about that comment.
I mean, I do see the corniness. Like, I wouldn't have said that. I wouldn't have like thrown money involved into it because it's not about that. I don't give a fuck if you have $6 billion. Like, that's not the point of it. Like, that's not the point what people are like trying to make, I guess. On like the beef in general. Like, that's not. They're not going off who has more money. Like, yeah, who, I guess it in an aspect because who's more successful, but I think it's more towards like the music, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
but Drake's post went more towards like, oh, well, I have this and you have that.
Yeah, like Drake tried to come at it more of like, you're a failure.
Yeah.
And here's all of my success. Here's how successful I am.
I mean, I do agree with the failure part because Joe is.
And, you know, the one thing that I will give on the side of that, to devil's advocate on that, is the one thing that I don't agree with. You can say Joe Budden failed at music. Essentially, there's a debate in there that maybe he did. But the one thing I will always give Joe credit for is he was one hell of a rapper. You can't take that away. Successful or not, he could rap extremely well. I will give him that. But as far as being a successful artist, I don't think he really was. And he shot himself in the foot every chance he would pretty much get.
Yeah. I don't know Joe's music, so I can't comment on that. But just knowing from like the pod and stuff, he is just like a very bitter person. Like in that sense of like, he is holding everybody else accountable for why he failed. But it's like,
and Drake made a good point too.
I mean, if you were making like what people wanted to hear at that time, even if
it had a cult
that's
following.
Where you were going or not with your music, like you have to learn how to play the people because it's a game. Like you have to fucking learn how to play.
And he was one of those too that would get mad at the shit not selling well.
Yeah, and like that's just gonna throw you off. Like, what? Aren't you supposed to be having fun? Aren't you supposed to be making music because you want to make music and you want people to like listen to what you have to say? No, you're in it because you want to be the most famous person and oh, look what I have. No, it's all about materialistic things with him. It's not about his love for the game, because if it was, then he would have, even if he wasn't this big, huge, he would still be in the game.
Yeah, he wouldn't have just folded and took the bitter approach. And like that was kind of like how
he would, you know, step back from that and turn to podcasting, but not be so bitter towards every single person that drops or puts something out. I mean, I've never really heard him say too many good things about anything.
He rarely does.
I mean, and if it is, it's like literally, what are you listening to? Because that's trash.
And like occasionally he'll big something up. But and then even like when he does that though, then he'll like turn around and like hate on it. And then like make it sound like he's calling it down the middle. And it's like, you can call it down the middle, but how are you going about calling it down the middle? Because you're dogging the living shit out of this. Like, you know, like there's a little bit more than, oh, hey, I think you could have done better. As opposed to, oh no, that was the worst fucking thing I've heard all year. And it's like, well, how do you expect an artist to take that? Like, what the hell? But Drake did have this to say, though, because he also responded to, like, Charlemagne and everything, too. He said, essentially, all you goofs been throwing my name around publicly for years like a frisbee. So don't be shocked now if I want to go fetch that shit and bring it to your doorstep. That was how he, like, because people were like, oh, my God, why is Drake so mad all of a sudden at, like, all these podcasters and interviewers and shit dogging it? Why is he so mad? And that was his response to it, was like, you know, I've let this shit go on for so long. Let me start dogging you guys. Mm-hmm. And like Charlemagne, he got him pretty bad. Charlemagne was dogging the album on The Breakfast Club. Drake then proceeded to follow that up and mention how he sent him bottles like during the Drake meat beef, because Charlemagne was like bigging him up at the time. And then like Charlemagne will just dog him and then he'll like big him up again and try to, you know, be cool with him. And Drake's like, man, like you flip-flop so many times, it's like I'm trying to cook something like a pancake. And it's like, oh shit. Like, feels like I'm cooking pancakes or something like that. But yeah, no, overall, I think that Drake Joe Budden beef, I know there were some people saying, because I don't know if you knew this, Drake and Joe Budden put out 5 Drake disses back in like 2013, 2014 to try to trigger him and bait him out. And it never worked. And then, of course, he ended up putting out that album and retiring 2 years later. But do you think, because some people are saying, oh, well, Drake was scared, that's why he didn't respond. Why do you think Drake didn't respond?
I think that he probably thought that he was just too bigger.
Now, that's the take that I was trying to say to people on Twitter, and it seemed like nobody was getting it.
Like, he didn't want to be bothered with that, like, petty, stupid shit because he was doing bigger and better things.
Somebody said, oh, well, he should have done it because it was, that'd be being competitive. That'd be competition. I said, no, that'd be the defending Super Bowl champion showing up to your high school football game and saying, hey, let me play.
Yeah.
Like, if Drake actually were to take the gloves off and do that, whose diss track is going to do better?
Yeah.
Boom. Boom. Then there'd be a bunch of people that didn't even know Joe Budden, and now their first impression of him is, oh, my favorite artist just dogged the shit out of him. So it's fuck this guy.
Yeah.
And all that would have done is just bury Joe Budden. But it really wouldn't have done anything for Drake. Wouldn't have done anything. In fact, it would have made it look like other rappers at Joe's level would have been like, fuck, I'll diss him too. Like, shit, if it's going to get my name out there, I'll diss him. Yeah. And then next thing you know, you got a bunch of bum-ass rappers trying to diss Drake.
Yeah, exactly. No, I agree.
And then somebody was like, yeah, but he responded to Pusha T. And I'm like, yeah, the guy who had the #1 album in the world and had a whole track dedicated to exposing his son. A legend in the game. Very well revered. Like, gee, I wonder why he responded to him.
Yeah, people are...
somebody, he responded to Meek.
Nobody's home.
Wonder why he responded to Meek. Oh, I don't know. Gee, let me reference this one again. #1 album in the world. Exposed him for not being able to write. Drake was just Joe Budden was just dropping diss bars to a brick wall. Saying a bunch of shit that wasn't even true.
Yeah, I don't know.
That just blows my mind. People are like, oh, but he responded to those two and not Joe. Like, we're talking about MLB and the fucking Lake County Captains here. What are we talking about? Like, come on now. Joe Budden never got called up. Ooh, that is one of the things that Drake said to end that one on. He said that we didn't even hang up your jersey. In fact, we don't even remember your number.
Yes. Yeah.
It was at that point I heard that ether beat start. They put that by. I heard the ether beat start. I went, the beat dropped though on that first sentence where he said, at Joe Budden, you failed at music. That beat started. Oh, God. But, yeah, Joe Budden, I think, got ethered in the comment. And I think Drake handled that all very well. And I think For All the Dogs will do amazing. I think it's on pace to do like 450K first week. Of course, he's going to get that #1 slot. There was one thing I wanted to touch off on, though, before we leave Drake for the week. I know it is Drake week, so to speak. But I know he took over the weekend. But there was another thing that he said on the album, and I'm curious to see what you think of this, because I know that you are a Bobby Althoff supporter. And you even kind of got me into watching some of the interviews. So, do you think this is a shot at Bobby Althoff? The lyric says, and it's on the song with Lil Yachty. Okay. So, they both were the first, like 2 of the first people to have the Big Bobby interviews. He said, boost a white bitch up, and now she thinks she really popping. Was that a shot at Bobby Althoff, or was that just Drake talking about some random girl he bought a Birkin bag for in Atlanta?
I mean, I definitely could see how it could be gauged towards Bobby. And it very well could be.
And their interview got taken down, if you remember.
So, I mean, I think it's safe to say that it definitely probably could be Bobby.
Well, you think Bobby will be able to bounce back? Will she fire back? Will Bobby drop a Drake diss?
No.
Oh. Can you imagine her trying to do a diss record?
No, absolutely not.
She'd have to do it from like that awkward point of view, though.
No, I don't think it would work.
But I don't know. I think there might be some truth to it. I know Drake is the king of the subliminals. You'll never really know if he's actually talking about it or not. Of course, he'll never address it. I think it's just a little bit of a coincidence, maybe, though, or I don't know if it's a coincidence that bar gets popped off on the record with Yachty.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
That's where it like gets fishy.
And I also thought that Cole Bennett video was great, and I saw that in the video when he like says that bar, they're both like jamming like side by side like together. And remember that Bobby did come out and say in one of her interviews that Lil Yachty was the worst interview experience she had yet. And that's also Drake's boy. Which is why I think a lot of people are right when they say they think that's why Drake pulled the interview. Because Drake gets petty like that.
Yeah.
Hey, don't talk about my friend. Right? I'm going to play this Tyga song halfway through the interview just in case I can throw a copyright claim at you if I need to. But, no, I don't think... I don't know. I don't know if that was for sure 100% directed at Bobby, but I think that he didn't mind if that boot fit, so to speak. But to end off on Drake, he just ended up I think he just ended the tour. I think he just wrapped it up in Toronto last night. They gave him the Gatorade shower, so to speak, but really it was just a bunch of drinks, probably mostly alcoholic from the crowd. It's probably wildly uncomfortable. But
and backwash and disgusting.
And he brought J. Cole out, and the other thing that was cool is now that 21 Savage is a permanent U.S. Resident, that he actually can go to Canada. So he got to like actually perform like over there now for the first time. Nice. So that was cool. And Drake ended off the tour, and he said that he's taking a break now for music. So we just got those 4 albums within like a 2-year period, and from CLB till now. And then now he's taking time off because he has to deal with some stomach issues.
And he canceled the Columbus show.
He does not fuck with Ohio.
No.
He is not coming to Columbus.
If I was going to go to the show in Columbus, I'd be very, very highly upset.
Would you be showing up at the embassy in Toronto right now?
I would honestly. I think this would, depending on...
I'd probably be at the Canadian border if our Drake show got canceled.
Depending on,
twice.
Severity, how much you have, money-wise put into this for this second time, because this is not the second time that he's done this. I think I would I'd be boycotting Drake for a little while. I think.
You go that route with it?
Yeah.
You'd be like, you really just pissed me off.
Yeah. I would. I'd be like, fuck you. Fuck you and your stomach problems. No.
Shit.
No, I'm just kidding. I understand the stomach problems.
What do you think it is, though? I remember you said IBS.
That's where my mind always goes. I always think about IBS. You have a stomach problem? IBS. Is it easily?
That's hilarious. That would mean that Drake would literally be in such a panic every single show, thinking that if I shit my pants up here, my career is over. All of a sudden, God's plan, you'd be listening to that like...
You just started vomiting.
That's a little fucked up. But no, I don't really know how to speculate on what those stomach issues might be. I just hope that Drake does at least get that taken care of. But I think, though, if he's taking a break from music, and now it's going to be like a Drake drought for some years, which I actually think could be the case, I think it's okay. I think he's earned the vacation.
Yeah, I do agree. He had plenty to go through.
Yeah, and he just gave us those 4 albums, which is more than Kendrick Lamar's gave us in 9 years.
Yeah.
So that's impressive. I think he's deserved it. I think it's well deserved. The tour obviously sold out every single arena that he did. Absolutely incredible. Got to wrap it up in Toronto. Obviously, this album will go number 1. Her Loss was number 1. They all go number 1. And always has a record on it that's going number 1, too. He's about to break Michael Jackson's record, possibly.
That's nice.
Yeah, at least tie him. I do believe he's going to for sure tie him. I think that first-person shooter record with Cole's going to be the one that sticks. And that's going to be the one that goes number 1. That's just my prediction. That's the one going number 1. If it's not that, it's going to be Gently with Bad Bunny. So one of those 2. And then if maybe another one can dethrone it the next week, then he beats Michael's record. But that's kind of hard to do. He said if it's IBS, then Drake is literally in some deep shit. That's funny. He does have that record on, I forget which album, In Too Deep. So maybe that's what he said, man. I'm knee deep in shit right now. Like literally knee deep in shit. I have to keep an eye on 40 with his MS, so I can't go anywhere. And my porta potty's been filled up for the last 3 days. I've been trying to knock out this album. Maybe there's some truth to it. I feel bad that 40 just caught a crazy stray, like 40's in a crib or something. He just has MS. I think he'll be okay. But whoa. But no, I saw that he had 40 at the show last night.
It's not just MS.
And
there's a lot of complications that come with MS.
See, I don't really know.
Yeah. So
But
don't want to come at you for that slating MS, sir.
let me reel it back in. I'm not trying to throw any slights towards MS, but I didn't mean to make 40 sound like an infant child that needed to be watched over. So I think he's more than capable. But no, love 40. Hope everything goes obviously good with his MS. Hope everything goes good with Drake's IBS, possibly. No. But we just put that on his jacket. We just put I'm next. He's gonna be in my YouTube comment next, and I'm gonna get it way worse than Charlemagne and Joe Budden did. That's for damn sure.
You heard it here first. Drake might have IBS.
Possibly. But no, I'm not going to put that on Drake's jacket, but I hope that he enjoys his vacation. Hope he enjoys the time off. I know he's going to, I'm sure, be with Adonis a lot as he's drawing pictures and writing letters that he just thinks of out of the blue. So, SPW. But, yeah, so shout out Drake. Shout out For All the Dogs. Great album. I'm going to keep running that back, of course. I think could be another Drake classic for his catalog. Not one of my personal favorites as of now, but who knows, it might grow on me and become that. But off rip though, love the album. Like I said, I think Members Only, probably my favorite on it, but I think the one going number one would be First Person Shooter or Gently with Bad Bunny. Then the last thing I wanted to mention then, before we pivot into the TV and the movies section, I did just want to go over one other album that I did saw that dropped this week, plus a couple singles. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like V or Dyer or something like that. But Earl Sweatshirt and Alchemist dropped a collab album. Love that. I think it's 11 tracks, 2 features of Vince Staples, 1 with Mike. Hearing Earl Sweatshirt and Alchemist put out a whole album together, I think was phenomenal. I saw Blink 182 dropped a single, One Last Dance. I still got to check that out. They're geared up for their album. And I believe I saw Paramore maybe dropped an album too. And I know that that's a big drop for a lot of people. However, I'm far away from my Paramore bag, so I'd have to get back into that fact. Yeah, I know you're a big, I know you like Paramore a lot. Yeah. Like I remember at least like Misery Business and stuff like that.
I like a couple songs.
Well, there was a couple bop. That's why I kind of retracted that. I was like, well, you're not like a big fan, but yeah, no. Overall, though, I think there was a lot of good new music that dropped this week. Obviously, For All the Dogs took over. You got to love the Earl Sweatshirt and Alchemist. I do highly recommend listening to that. And just to make sure I'm not leaving anything out, yeah, there's the Paramore. Oh, yeah, Wiz Khalifa dropped an album, but I haven't heard it yet. Cali Sober. Literally right before we went live, I'm like, damn, Wiz dropped?
Oh, yeah.
I see Pitbull dropped something.
Oh, God.
Trackhouse. Yeah, he dropped something. Got T-Pain on there and Lil Jon. Uh-oh. Did we travel back to 2008?
I was just about to say, what year is it?
Shit, who else is on there? Zach Brown. That's interesting. RJM, Mr. LA, and DJ Drama dropped the Gangsta Grills. Haven't checked that out yet. Babyface E dropped the mixtape. Uh-oh, that sounds like Railroad Tracks. Went too far. Thames dropped the single, Me and You. What we got here? Oh, Noah, you know that guy that does the record with Post Malone that you like a lot?
Oh, yeah.
Noah Kahan. I'm not even sure how to say his last name. But he had Casey Musgraves on the record. She Calls Me Back.
I like her.
How about Megan Thee Stallion? I know you like her.
I do.
Out Alpha, the Alpha. And Denzel Curry dropped a single, Sked. There was Dance With Me, obviously, with Blink 182. Mahid Jordan dropped Hands Tied. And Fabio Foreign dropped Why Would I? I'm just naming off shit I haven't even heard at this point. But so yeah, that does it for new music. So the last thing to touch on music-wise is, he said Paramore's new album is a remixed version of their album, This Is Why. Oh, okay. That's why it said R.E. before it. I wondered why that was there. Good clear up on that. So the last thing I wanted to mention was there was some songs dropped. There were some albums dropped. Shit, there was a Gangsta Girls mixtape dropped. So Sexy Red had to join in on it, except she took it a different route. There was an accidental sex tape dropped on her IG story. It was up for about 2 hours before it got taken down, I think it said.
Oh my God, it's such a long time.
Yeah. So, I didn't see it, but I did see the screenshots of it in the clips. So, Sexy Red looked like Young Thug in that.
Oh my God.
And,
I haven't seen it.
A lot of people were dogging her for it. Like, I mean, it's essentially a lot of the female rappers in public, they have themselves completely dolled up.
Yeah.
She wasn't dolled up.
Well,
no, just saying. That alone, like when Cardi does it, it's like, oh, that's just Cardi being Cardi. But this was the first time.
Yeah, nobody's.
It was like the reveal.
I get it.
And then it's like, oh boy. Like,
well, I know, that's kind of mean.
I mean, it is mean. And hey, I'm a Sexy Red fan. I think the new project was dope. I'm a Sexy Red fan.
I'm not even a fan.
But this sex tape did her no favors.
I understand, but maybe, I mean, I don't think that she'd purposely post that knowing if she looks like, if she, or maybe she's confident and was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm going to post this, and then say it was accidental. Or it was actually accidental and everybody's just being very mean. Now,
that is the part that I wanted to dive in on just real quick on that one. I'm not 100% sold that this was accidental.
Really?
Not 100%. First time I'll bite. This time I'm not sure. So the first time was this dude. I think it's the same guy, and he's smoking a blunt, and he's like bragging about how he just smashed Sexy Red, and then he turns the camera, and boom, she's in the bed. And that got posted on his story. And it was like, okay, maybe that's just him acting goofy.
Or he posted it on his story and then posted it on hers.
And then there's the theory of, maybe he just happened to have her password. And that's like her dude that she's actually maybe seeing or the closest guy to her, so to speak. Yeah. But my thing is when she goes oh my God, that was accidentally posted and everything. And it's like, that was, I think it was overall, when they showed the screenshot of it on the stories, it looked like it was like a minute worth of a clip. Oh. Meaning how would all of that accidentally get posted?
I don't know.
That's holy.
If she didn't, how? I think
she was saying that she was asleep and the guy went on her phone.
I think that's true. I just don't see how she would. What does she gain from that if she posted it?
The only thing with that is it would kind of be on brand for her. Out of all the females out right now, again, big Sexy Red fan, but she is the most ratchet, I guess you could say, of them all. That's what she tries to promote. That's the brand. My pussy pink, my booty hole brown. Pound Town. It's sexy. That's I'm a fan. But that's essentially what she's going for on every single record. What did she do on that feature with Drake? Shake that ass for Drake. Shake that ass for me. And it's that's her brand.
I guess. I don't know. I
But
it could be.
Overall, though, I knew I had to bring it up. I feel like every podcast has to bring that one up if you're talking music this week. But Sexy Red, I'm still a fan. That wasn't your finest hour. But if there's anybody that can bounce back from a sex tape, my chips are all in on Sexy Red. I think she'll bounce back from it. Yeah, I'm sure. She just has to. I'm sure something crazy will go on in the internet over the next couple of days.
She's, pedophile like all the men. So.
Yeah, no, it was just okay. She's if anything, she's living the bars. She's living the music. Shit, really? Sexy Red be fucking all right. Damn, posted it on the IG. Damn.
Yeah.
So now to pivot into TV and movies, get into our review bag.
Speaking of reviews.
Speaking of reviews, but yeah, good pivot, good transition. But Orange is the New Black, we just wrapped it up. We finally finished it. And I remember I said when we started it that I wasn't going to talk about it until it was officially over. So, what did you think? I'll let you start of the whole show, Orange is the New Black.
Oh, I loved it. It's a great show. I think there's a lot of deep messages in it and deep meanings and crazy storylines and oh my god, I mean,
favorite season off the top of your head.
Oh god, all the seasons like ran together for me.
Mine
and
would
like
be
I've watched the first like few of them before,
originally.
So it's like I don't know. I think like probably
I would say for me 4 and 6.
I was gonna say 6 is probably if I had to pick a season, probably the most like.
That's the one that goes bullshit, bull true.
Yeah.
That
one, I don't know. It was just a juicy show.
Yeah, my favorite moment though of the whole show was for sure when Tasty saw that one girl, I think is Diaz, no, maybe, let out remember she stole Gloria's plan and then helped the hostages escape. And then that moment where I think Tasty had the best performance of it all. When she like goes to check and she's like, yeah, like where are all my hostages? And they're like, Tasty, you haven't heard? We lost the hostages like an hour ago. And then she realizes that Caputo and like them are already on the outside. And she has that moment where right before, like, I think it actually goes into slow-mo because she's like, I lost control of it. And then you hear the police on the outside. They're like, all right, we're coming in 5. Yeah. And it's like, oh, shit. And she goes like running down the hallway watching like the police start like coming in and start just obviously going crazy on the inmates because now they're super pissed off.
Yeah.
But overall, though, I thought it was a great show. Favorite character? Let me throw this one at you. Favorite character or characters throughout, like, at the end of the show?
Oh, God.
And you can say your characters that you never liked. Like, I'll start that one off.
I don't like Piper.
Yeah, you never liked Piper since day one, really. And
Piper pissed me off. I think Gloria. Gloria's for sure a faves of mine.
Mendoza.
Yeah, Mendoza. Damn. Who else? I think Suzanne.
Oh yeah, you're a Suzanne fan.
And
what about Pennsylvania?
I do like that. I did like Pennsylvania.
Cindy?
Oh fuck, Cindy. That's what I was trying to think of. I was like, what the fuck's her name? And of course Tasty, R.I.P. Tasty. Not Tasty. What the heck's her face?
Shit.
Poussey
Washington.
I couldn't think of her name.
Poussey. Yeah. I'll start off then since you started off with who you said you never liked Piper. You know who I'm about to hate. I fucking put the hater hat on and glue it to my head on this one. I fucking hate Daya.
I know.
I'm so mad that Daya made it the whole series. I thought for sure Daya was finally gonna get it and just never got it. I was like, damn, Daya escaped. And then now we started a new show, Russian Doll, and she's a bitch in that too. But of course she is. That's the only role she can play. That's her as a human being. But no, I think that shows you maybe she just did a really good job in it. But I didn't like her. I didn't really care for her mom that much.
Oh, no. I thought you said she was funny.
Funny, yes. But as like, I'll tell you what. I prefer her more out of the jail than in the jail. She annoys me like with some of the stuff she does in the jail.
Yeah, I can see that.
But then like when she's out, she's funny. Like if that makes, and she still like can be funny at different times too. But overall though, she would just be more of a bitch. It seemed like in the prison. Obviously one of my favorite characters. I always loved Red. Always loved Red. I thought Red was a great character. Tasty. That's another one. She definitely grew on me over the seasons. Like at first I wasn't like a big Tasty fan, but by the end, like her a lot. I'll throw this one out there. Mr. Caputo.
Oh, okay.
How Tasty always would be like, thank you, Mr. Caputo. Like, you know, like Mr. Caputo is actually a cool dude.
Yeah.
Meant well. He'd fuck up a couple times, especially like when he was the warden and shit. Like,
Yeah.
he made some bad calls, but overall, though, I thought Mr. Caputo was cool. And this last name, though, I'll throw at you. I actually, by the end of the show, kind of thought Fig was cool. Fig grew on me. Like that part where Fig's standing in that remember when they were giving the immigrants like where they're going and shit like that, and there's kids involved, and like it's the first time you get to see Fig be like, this is what the fuck is my job? Like literally like what am I doing here? Like that's why Mr. Caputo hates this shit. Like that's why he hates this shit. But yeah, overall though, that became instantly one of my favorite shows probably of all time. Definitely like to rewatch that sometime. I mean, Pennsatucky, she grew on me. I think everybody in that show just really did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, they all.
I wasn't really too big on Piper
either. Oh my god,
either.
how can I forget Nikki?
Oh yeah, and Nikki.
Favorite.
Well, actually, I'm glad that you said that because do you know her name as an actress?
I don't.
Neither do I. But the girl who plays Nikki in Orange Is the New Black is actually the lead star of the new show that we just started watching. We're watching Russian Doll on Netflix. I think it's got what, 2 seasons to it.
Yeah, I think so.
So far, so good. Really getting into it. I believe we're on episode 5 or 6 now. For those that don't know what Russian Doll's about, is Nikki from Orange Is the New Black.
Sorry.
You got it. Oh, from Orange Is the New Black.
Oh, she wrote it. It's Natasha. I don't know how to say her last
Natasha
name. Leone, and she wrote it.
And she wrote the show.
She's one of the writers and creator
of Orange or Russian.
Of Russian Doll.
Oh, awesome. Well, that's even better because I actually really dig that show. So far, what it's about, and you can kind of help me out with this. Yep, comedy drama. Essentially, Nikki, it starts off with her in this bathroom, literally the first scene. She's in this bathroom. She goes out, talks to her friend, Lana, yada, yada. And then she ends up, at the end of the night, walking out into the street. She gets hit by a car. But then she goes right back to being in that bathroom. So kind of like on some Happy Death Day shit, but not having necessarily a particular killer. And she ends up dying over and over and over again and just coming back to that bathroom. And then it ends up kind of evolving like where we're at like 5 episodes in, where now there's kind of new elements to the story. I think I kind of summarized that one pretty good. But so far I dig it a lot. How would you kind of intro, like if somebody was like, oh, if I wanted to watch that show, well, what's it about? What would you kind of say?
You just gave it all away.
Okay.
So what would I?
No, I wanted to make sure I didn't leave out anything.
No, you didn't leave it out. You think you gave away too much.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But yeah. So potential spoiler alert. But that I mean, they do show that pretty early on though in episode 1.
No, I know, but it's like you want to give like the ominous, like.
Well, hey, I think hey, in trailers nowadays, I'm able to find out who the fucking killer is by the end of the trailer.
Really like watching trailers.
And I'm just like, okay. Like, damn, I was hyped, but now I kind of think I know how this one goes. But no, overall, though, Russian Doll, I think it's a really good show. Looking forward to watching it. And it's only got 2 seasons to it.
Psychological. You got to think. There's a lot of different.
Definitely a lot of thinking going on. Like, damn, why is this happening?
Directions.
Yeah, like I've came up with like 10 different theories of why this could be happening. Yeah. So I'm excited to see where the show goes. And of course, once I finish it up, that will be when we recap it and give our full in-depth review. But I always like to know let the people in on what I'm watching, kind of see maybe what they thought of the show. No spoilers for me, though, please. Would appreciate that. The other thing I wanted to mention then on TV and movies before we leave off on that is The Exorcist. I believe it's a reboot sequel, if I got that one right. So we're going from the time, like we're going in that timeline of the original, but it's like years in the future. And I think is the direction that they're trying to take that. I'm not big on the Exorcist movies myself, but from the trailer, that's kind of what I gathered. But here's another thing I've been able to gather about the movie. There's a ton of reviews about the movie, and about none of them are good. It had a $30 million budget. It's grossed $45 million opening weekend. So it's a success in terms of what they, I guess, wanted to achieve.
Yeah, but
nobody's liking this thing. I mean, everybody's.
I have yet to see it. I really do want to see it because I love the Exorcist movies.
And I think that the thing about it that I guess has some controversy to it is that one of the people either in the movie or somebody on the crew said that the movie that hit theaters was not the last thing that he was shown before it hit the theaters. He was shown a whole different version and then went to the premiere and was like, okay, that's different. Like, that's a little bit different than what I remember. And then it's, oh, well, now people are hating it. So now maybe that guy's over here thinking like, damn, you had something, and then you just did this with it. Like, what the fuck? But I don't know. I know you're really excited to see it, and of course, I'm, more than willing to watch it. Like to see where maybe they could take it. But overall, though, looks like the reviews going in on that are not doing so hot for them.
Yeah, sometimes I like the movies like that people hate, so I end up actually liking them.
And you get to go in with expectations of like,
it's gonna be,
oh wow, this probably isn't gonna be so hot, and then you're just like, whoa, wow, that actually wasn't so bad. Like that's actually pretty good.
I feel like that's happened a couple of times with a couple different movies where it gets like crap reviews, and we'll go see it. And we're like, what are people like? It wasn't that bad. Like, why are people talking about?
And then there's other times where, like The Nun 2.
Yeah, everybody
a lot of people love it, and I'm like, damn. I'm saying it's too slow. Like, shit. Yeah. But, overall, though, I'm excited to check it out. I know you are, too. So if you're excited, I'm excited, sweetie. But on that note, pivot off into sports. Give my predictions on the Sunday and Monday night games. If you can't tell who I want to win tonight, I want the Niners to stay undefeated. They're playing the Dallas Cowboys in the Sunday night game tonight. Let's see. Let me take a crack at it here. I'm going to let my Niners bias show. I know the Dallas Cowboys defense is doing really good things this season. I know they're like one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the league, statistically. But I think the Niners defense shuts down that offense. And I don't think their defense holds us to under 30 points. So I'm thinking the score, I'm going to go 35-13. Niners win over the Dallas Cowboys. 35-13. That's the score I'm going for that one. For the Monday night game, let me check, make sure I know who's playing in that. We got Green Bay and we got the Vegas Raiders. They're in Las Vegas. I'm going to go with Green Bay beats the Vegas Raiders. I'm going to go 21-6. Green Bay beats the Raiders 21-6. They only get 2 field goals. Or they biff an extra point. But that's Daniel Carlson kicking that ball. So I'm going to probably go with, if it's 21-6, we're going with 2 field goals. But all I care about in those 2 games is I really, really want the Niners to pull this shit out tonight and be undefeated. Speaking of which, Lions are going off. They've been having a great season. I know they just had a dominating win today over the Giants, who, that's a team that's in shambles to say the least. I know I've said this joke a couple times now, but I'll always reiterate it. Every time I watch Daniel Jones play football, it just looks like you went up into the stands, handed some kid on Xanax a helmet and some pads and said, get out there, kid, throw the ball, give it your best shot. Because he doesn't look like he looks like he wants to be anywhere but on that turf playing the game of football. But you can almost watch him. Like, he'll get behind center and get ready to hike it, and he'll be like, hike. Yep. Boom, sacked. Like,
it's the biggest inconvenience.
Like, I saw a meme today that was hilarious. It was like, this is Daniel Jones playing football in the NFL. And I know you probably haven't watched Family Guy in a while, but maybe you've seen this clip where it's literally like they hike the ball to Stewie, and he just goes, yep, I'm dead. And just all the players just jump right on top of him.
I think I've seen that on a game or something before.
The offensive line's non-existent in New York, so Daniel Jones, he very well might be brain dead at this point. I think they knocked him out of the game in the third quarter because it's like, in the past 2 weeks, Daniel Jones has been sacked 17 times. And it's like, how's he alive?
Oh, my God.
Oh, I mean, literally, I don't even just put all this on Daniel Jones. Like, that's probably why he signed. He's walking up behind center like, okay, here we go again. Like, yeah. I feel like I'm CJ from San Andreas. Oh, shit. Here we go again. Hike. Boom. Like, fuck. My right guard's been high on acid for the past 3 weeks in his head. Like, Jesus Christ. Another team in shambles is the Carolina Panthers. They're yet to get a W on the board. They don't have a win yet. No wins.
Oh, what, week 5?
And they just drafted that rookie quarterback, and that's got them nowhere. You might even know who's throwing the ball for them now. Andy Dalton. Remember the redheaded guy from Cincinnati? Looked like Jim. I always used to call him Andy Dalton. But another person in shambles, though, Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler saw the Dame trade go through and then put on fall for you because he's in shambles. He got into his Mayday bag.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he said he's in his emotional state. And people are like, he kind of just said he's emo. But, yeah, Jimmy Butler is now in shambles. I know that meme kind of, he was the new Kevin James of the week, I feel like. With those pictures going around. Oh, Kevin James hasn't quite left yet. He's still got his foot in the door. He's still having fun. But Jimmy Butler's making it difficult on him, and same thing with Taylor Swift. Because at this point, if those two people even walk, there's a new picture coming out about
That's
him.
true.
But no, I think Jimmy Butler is in his emotional state right now. He went from realizing that they could be a championship contender to being a first-round exit. So that's kind of, or maybe a second-round exit. Let me at least give Bam Adebayo the benefit of the doubt. But, yeah, Jimmy Butler, I don't know if I'm going to be picking him up next week in fantasy. So on that note, to leave off in the sports realm, did just want to say that next week will be a three-episode content post week where I will have the pod, Pull Up a Chair, Sleepless Radio, and on top of that, I'll be doing a live NBA fantasy basketball draft. Also have another little surprise coming out this week on YouTube. Looking very excited for it, which involves the Won't He Do It tour recap and talking to Jay Skeese, which had a blast at that show. Conway the Machine threw the cane, had an amazing time on stage. He was great. He had his mom there. Actually got to meet her. That was amazing. So that was really cool. Got to share that birthday cake moment. So that was awesome. Got to talk with Jay, got a signed copy of Abolished Uncertainties, Album of the Year as a gift. So thank you, Jay, for that. And his team was super cooperative and awesome. But we'll be diving into that more on that post when that's coming. But had a great time at that show with great Duel Santana, big Dooley with the Toolie when you're watching this. We had a great time pulling up rainy day night at the grog shop, packed the grog out, had some brews, had a good time, good conversations, and just jammed the fuck out. Got to have a moment with Jay. Got to have a cool moment there with Conway too. So that was awesome. And I think a lot of the openers did great. Sauce Walken turned me and my buddy Dooley into even bigger fans by the end of that show. So that was absolutely phenomenal set. And they all three killed it. And yeah, excited for you guys to see that. And on that note, let's recap Fastlane. Talk a little bit about Edge, and then we're going to be heading out. Like I said, it was a slow news week, but we still wanted to tap in with the people and touch the people about all the crazy shit that still unfolds in this wild simulation we live in. But on that note, what did you think of Fastlane last night?
I mean, from what I watched of it, it was pretty good.
Yeah, I know. The first half of it, I did have on in the background during Sleepless Radio. So, like, when Carlito returned, that was the one thing that bugged me because I was like, I would have loved to be a part of that pop. But when duty calls, and I love y'all, so I had it on in the background, but it was cool seeing Carlito come back. So LWO and Carlito got the win over the Soup Profits with Bobby Lashley. I was very happy to see, but surprised to see, that Io Sky retained against Charlotte and Asuka.
That was a big one.
Yeah, I thought for sure. What were we saying?
She's getting a big push.
Yeah, she is. I mean, anytime you see Charlotte in a championship match, you're like, brother. Right, here we go. Like, they're going to put the belt on her for the 9,000th time.
But I did see this meme about Charlotte, though, that was like, something about Charlotte is a dangerous woman when she's in heels. And it's like a compilation of all of her, like, just moves that she did, like, while she was in heels. And it is pretty impressive. That's hard to do. Like wrestle in high heel boots and stuff. I was like, gosh, dang. But that was just like a side note.
That is actually oddly impressive. I mean, Charlotte is crazy athletic. I think she gets that from the Rick gene, so to speak.
Yeah.
But even though that dude debatably in the last 10 years hasn't really been athletic, he's just kind of flopping around when he does wrestle. But he actually if you remember, he fell asleep. Yeah. He sold the move so well, he fell asleep on the mat. And that's when I think it was Jeff Jarrett had to come over and be like, yo, brother, we out here in the middle of the ring, 15,000 people. Like, you're going for a nap. Like, oh, shit. But very surprised to see EO win. I loved seeing Seth retain against Shinsuke.
Yeah, I knew that.
See, I maybe lost people money because I really thought Shinsuke had that. Because now, look at it this way, though. That's 3 straight pay-per-views. Shinsuke lost.
Well,
I mean, it's like, yeah, you're pushing Shinsuke, and I was glad to see what Triple H said about him. But at the same time, like, Shinsuke, ultimately, if this was New Japan, he would have won that. And it's like...
maybe he's winning the next one.
Maybe, I don't know. But if CM Punk returns at Survivor Series, they're going to want to put him against Seth. Because then CM Punk's going to want a title. He's going to want the World Heavyweight, so he can still be the main event.
Eat shit.
I feel like if we should play a pull-up-a-chair drinking game. If everybody, for every episode, you have to take a double shot every time we have to mention the name CM Punk. But,
yeah, you'd be fucked up.
But no, I think he might be coming out at Survivor Series. I saw Jade Cargill debuted last night at Fastlane. Oddly enough, she came out in her ring gear. Did you notice that? She popped out of the limo in her ring gear.
Yeah.
And I saw somebody on Twitter. That actually didn't cross my mind at first. And then once I saw it, I'm like, yeah, that is kind of fucked up. I'm like, why would that be the big on-screen Jade Cargill debut? It's her popping out of the limo talking to Triple H for literally like 30 seconds in her ring gear. That's why people thought she was going to, like, as soon as that happened, and then they're like, oh, and now we're going to the triple threat match. It's like, oh, is she about to walk out and make this thing a fatal 4-way?
Right,
is she going to come out at, because right there and then I thought for sure Charlotte was winning. Because I was like, Charlotte's going to win. Here comes Jade. Charlotte's going to do the dumbass, hold the belt up in her face, and then we're going to get the point to whatever the next pay-per-view sign is. And it's like, ah, shit.
Yeah.
But no, she never came out. And then the other great match, LA Knight and John Cena versus Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. And that was a really cool match. Paul Heyman aged 25 years overnight from Friday into Saturday.
No fucking idea. Oh my God. I was like, what?
When Paul Heyman
taken back. I had a double take. I was like, no way.
You're like, is that CGI? You're like, oh, Paul Heyman's really there. He aged badly.
Forgot to put his root touch up on.
Yeah, it looked like he forgot to do something there. But yeah, I noticed that too. But oh dear. But yeah, so overall though, I thought Fastlane was a great pay-per-view. I actually thought that was the best Fastlane of all their Fastlanes that they do. Normally for a lot of their Fastlane PLEs in the past, it was always that bridge between Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. And a lot of the times it would be like, oh, well, you know, if anything, when I'm thinking about it now, Fastlane was more so really just used as like a story holder. Like, like this guy's gonna get a chance to fit. Like, say John Cena was the champion, but the Royal Rumble winner was Triple H. And Triple H is going to challenge John Cena at WrestleMania. Well, then it would be like, oh, well, Triple H now has to fight Batista. And if Batista wins, well, then it's a triple threat match at WrestleMania. And he's got his way of getting into the WWE Championship match. You know, that kind of thing. Most of the time, it'd never be like a drop belt situation. But overall, though, thought Fastlane, once again, I thought it was great. I thought the post-Fastlane press conference was pretty cool. I thought it was very weird, though, that one guy asked Io Sky if she wanted to wrestle Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. And I think that question kind of even bugged Triple H, because then when Triple H came out, he's like, all right. He goes, yeah, you. He goes, I don't want you asking me anything because you just asked her why about wrestling Taylor Swift at WrestleMania. And he goes, that's just a dumb question. And he goes, all right. And you just want to let that guy know, like, I'm not letting you get anything else off, buddy. Right. Like, that was a terrible fucking thing. But thought that post-conference was cool. Some people said that they think Jey Uso sparked up before he went out there. Because, like, there's like a 20-second period where when Cody and him are walking off, that Jay like forgot the belts. When he goes back and he grabs one. Then he goes to walk away and Cody's like, hey man, grab the other. And like Jay has to turn around and go grab the other. And then he like trips up on the chair. Then he like goes to sit down real quick. And then he goes to smile. And then Cody's like, come on. And then Jay like gets up and comes with him. So it's like, damn, was Jay like just off one for a second? Did he go brain dead for a second? Like what's going on there? And Cody's face is funny because he's like, come on, man, what are you doing? Like we're trying to get to the back. Like our night's over, dude. But no, I thought that was funny. And then obviously to end, we got to talk a little bit about AEW because Edge is officially All Elite. I was right last week on the pod when I said that he was coming out at the end of Wrestle Dream, so I want my flowers, damn it. But what do you think of Edge being in AEW now? Do you think that's a good fit for him? Do you think maybe he shouldn't have went there?
No, I mean, I think it's a fine place for him to be. I mean, he has friends there and stuff, and you know, he can go and finish off his, you know, potentially finish off his career there with his friends and, you know, people that he grew up in the industry with.
Now, what do you think of that he said that he let his daughters, specifically the one daughter, direct where he was going? Because he said he talked about it with Beth, he talked about it with everybody, even talked about it with Christian. And he's like, you know, I feel like my kids, he goes, you know, he goes, who's more honest than kids? He goes, you know, let's see what they want me to do.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, I was fully open to any answer. If they said, Dad, we want you home, he goes, I'm staying home. I'm done. I'm over. I'm okay. And he said, when he asked him, he said it was his one daughter. I forget the name, but she said, well, you always see you just like having fun, right, Dad? He goes, yeah. He goes, well, wouldn't you then want to go wrestle with Uncle Jay? And he goes, wrestle with Uncle Jay. Okay. And he said, I'll call Tony back. And he called Tony back, and Tony was like, really? He goes, yeah, I'll take your offer. And Tony goes, okay. I'll get the paperwork sent over to you right now. We'll get that to you right now. Just like, you know, just give me your team, give me where I need to send it. Yeah.
Stay on the phone. I'm gonna do this right now.
Tony, can I just put you on hold real quick? Thank fucking God. Finally, a silver lining. All right. And he's like, Tony, you're still on. I can hear every word you just said. Yeah, Tony was like, okay, all right, okay. Like, I'll send over the paperwork. Like, let's get this done. But loved that debut. Loved how Christian this week on Dynamite got to pop off that one line because now it's the rated R era. And he said, oh, you like being rated R? Well, guess what, Edge? Go fuck yourself. And it was like, and then of course Edge is selling it like, you know, he just lost his best friend of 30 years, just turned his back on him type shit. But then I saw he popped out at Collision last night and brought back the Edgecutioner, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I love seeing Edge in AEW. I actually think it's a good fit for him being there. I think that, you know, I think he also said it at the end in that Wrestle Dream press conference, that he ran through his list in WWE of the people that he really wanted to wrestle. Like, he got to go out wrestling the Seth Rollins, the Grayson Wallers, like, you know, all them. And then now it's a lot of fresh talent, like in AEW. Of course, the name that he said that he'd love to work with the most, Kenny Omega, which that seems to be what everybody says. But love seeing Edge in AEW, wishing the best for him on his run there. I think it'll definitely be good for AEW right now because I know they're having some struggles with the arena tickets, specifically for Collisions. But I know we had a blast at our Collision, so I think more people should check it out. And Edge hopefully can, in his match against Luchasaurus, beat NXT or at least hang with them in the ratings on Tuesday, because it looks like AEW and WWE are at war on Tuesday. Because WWE, I will call it down the middle. I love WWE, but I think it's safe to say they were a little bit petty maybe with what 100%. They did. Dynamite had to move it. For those that don't know, AEW had to move their regular scheduled program of Dynamite from a Wednesday to the same time slot, but on a Tuesday due to the MLB playoffs. And that's the same night as WWE's NXT. Well, WWE now has John Cena coming to the show. You got Paul Heyman. You got Cody Rhodes making a major announcement. You got Asuka versus Roxanne Perez. And then on top of it all now, the rumor is that Taker's actually going to be at the PC on Tuesday. And they're going to have him come out to give a uplifting speech to the superstars in the back. Because now at the end of the NXT intro, you hear the lights like go black and it goes dong, and you see his face turn around with the hat on and look. And I saw, and people said that they were like, okay, yeah, that's what somebody said. They said, what's next? The glass gonna shatter? Like, damn, like,
Oh my God.
but it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I'm sure that's something we'll be talking about on who won in the ratings next week. But on that note, it's short and sweet, but I think we got straight to the point. For All the Dogs, out now, great album. Drake versus Joe Bumass Budden. He ethered him, good old non-style. And Earl, Alchemist album, great. Fastlane was awesome. Orange is the New Black, great. Exorcist isn't going over well. And on that note, keep the love high and the hate low. And as Snooker would say, stay blessed and less stressed. And hope you guys have a blessed and wonderful week. And thank you for being tuned in with Pull Up a Chair. And 21 more subscribers, we will be doing cash giveaways. So get hip now and get lit now. And on that note, is there anything you'd like to say to close us out on? Wake up with a smile on, goddammit. Peace. Killing it, sweetie.